Greetings in the name of the Most High Rastafari. This is the girl Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal as Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition of We Told the Thing Unfiltered people. The end of the month is here. By weekend is Independence. There's a whole next bacchanal and lily. But you know what we hear? We thank God for life always. And always, as I say, remember the little ones, remember the elders, remember those in the community who may not have. Plenty people lost their work. You saw today on the news speak about a young lady with a baby and the unfortunate circumstances for the baby. I don't know if it's a decided road in a box or whatever. And it apparently she didn't give birth long because I understand the baby still had the neighbor's string and all that. And then she would have confessed it's her baby. Let me tell you something. People are going through a lot of things right now, and not everybody could handle it. And pregnancy alone is a whole thing by itself, postpartum depression, all kind of things can happen. But when you impound that now with people in how they work, they can't pay the bills, they can't buy food because they lost the job. 10,500 CPEP workers, European workers, reforestation workers, contracted workers, every day this one going home, that one going home, it compounds the situation. So people, we have to go back to each one, take care of one another. So people, as I say, month end coming, and thanks all those who continue to support We Talk the Thing Unfiltered, and we keep on going and we keep on pressing, right? So let me start with, we have a program here, we don't stick, especially now in the independence, and especially now where our country at. Let me tell all, yeah? So let me do the thing right now. And we must have the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
And we must pay tribute to the First Peoples also. Yeah, people. So, we just always have something to make you smile, make you think. Whatever it is, we must have a good news area there. So I saw this and I thought this was interesting. Hope you find so too.
Freedom in 1834 for the estimated 638,300 enslaved people in the British Caribbean wasn't a surprise. Enslavers, Britain's ruling elite, and abolitionists had been locked in battle over slavery's quote-unquote suitable afterlife, while enslaved communities, inspired by Haiti's independence, sensed freedom was coming and fought to define it themselves. From Bussa's uprising in Barbados in 1816 to Sam Sharp's rebellion in Jamaica in 1831, and many more. When the Abolition and Manumission Act took effect on August 1st, 1834, it didn't deliver real freedom. Instead came apprenticeship, years of forced, largely unpaid labor for former enslavers, while Britain compensated the enslavers and not the enslaved. Colonial and church authorities pushed one message: be grateful. Freedom was framed as a gift and not a right realized. But resistance never stopped. By 1838, at least 250 petitions demanding full abolition reached the UK Parliament. The pressure worked. Apprenticeship ended 2 years early on August 1st, 1838. This pattern shaped emancipation across the Caribbean. What followed after the Emancipation Proclamation, though, is what made each island different. So this August, we're exploring emancipation, what we've all heard, and what really happened.
All right, so just some conversation there on Caribbean freedom. Listen to this.
On the 30th of June 1960, the Congo celebrated independence from Belgium after 75 years of colonial rule. The Belgian king stood up and praised his country's work in Africa. Then, Patrice Lumumba stood up and told the truth. Lumumba had been a postal clerk, a beer salesman, a man with no family connections to power. He built the Congolese national movement from nothing. His coalition won 71 of the 137 seats in Congo's first election. The people chose him. At the independence ceremony, he spoke for the millions engaged in the struggle against colonial rule. He named what Belgium had done: the years of humiliation, the suffering, the stolen resources. The Belgian king sat and listened. Lumumba's speech went around the world. He was in office for 67 days. The CIA had created a dedicated Africa division in November 1959, before Congo was even independent, specifically to undermine African leaders who threatened Western interests. Lumumba was already on their list. On the 14th of September 1960, a military coup led by Joseph Mobutu, with CIA backing, removed Lumumba from power. He had been prime minister for 67 days. Lumumba was captured. Photographs taken during his captivity show him bound, beaten, his shirt torn. He was 35 years old. He had spent his adult life building a movement to free his country. He had been prime minister for 67 days. On the 17th of January 1961, Patrice Lumumba was executed by firing squad in Katanga province. He was killed alongside 2 of his ministers. He was 35 years old. Then Belgian police officer Gerard Soete dissolved his body in acid, so there would be nothing left to bury, so he could not become a martyr. But Soete kept 2 of Lumumba's teeth as souvenirs, and later showed them to journalists. Joseph Mobutu, the man the CIA backed to replace him, ruled the Congo for 32 years. He stole billions. The Congo's extraordinary mineral wealth flowed to foreign corporations while his people starved. In 2002, Belgium formally apologized for its role in Lumumba's assassination. In 2013, the CIA officially acknowledged its involvement. They apologized, they acknowledged, and then moved on. In June 2022, Lumumba's teeth were returned to his family, 61 years after his death. At the handover ceremony, his daughter Juliana said, "He passed by like a meteor, the richest country in Africa. 67 days. His name was Patrice Lumumba. Follow at Unbroken Legacy.
Interesting. Listen to this. This one is closer to home.
You ever learn about somebody in history and think, why did y'all hide him? Because before Garvey, before Malcolm, before Pan-Africanism became a movement, there was Henry Sylvester Williams, a Trinidadian lawyer who looked at the entire diaspora and said, we're not separate stories, we're one struggle. And he was saying that in 1900, and we were never supposed to know he existed. He was born in Trinidad under British colonial rule, a world obsessed with hierarchy, race, and proximity to whiteness. Then he lived in places like Grenada, Nova Scotia, and London. And everywhere he went, he saw the same thing. Black people facing the same oppression under different accents, different governments, different excuses, but the same structure. He didn't romanticize it, he recognized it. And before activists even had the language for it, he understood the truth. We're not scattered, we're connected. By the late 1890s, Williams had an idea that nobody else was bold enough to try. What if Black people from all over the world met in the same room? Not to survive, but to strategize. So he founded the African Association in London, and then he organized the first Pan-African Conference in 1900. That's decades before African independence, decades before the big leaders became global names. He didn't coin the term Pan-African, but he's the one that turned it into a political movement. At that conference, he brought together Africans, West Indians, Black Americans, and Black Britons, putting colonialism on trial in the middle of the empire itself. People think he was just a thinker, but no. He became a barrister in London, then practiced law in southern Africa, defending Africans caught under racist colonial laws. And then he ran for public office and won. In 1906, he became one of the first Black men elected to public office in Britain. From that seat, he pushed the British government to confront its own empire from the inside. Williams didn't live to see the world he imagined, though. He died in 1911, before independence movements, before decolonization, before Pan-African Congresses became global institutions. But everyone who came after him, Padmore, Du Bois, Garvey, and Nkrumah Kenyatta, pulled directly from the foundation that he built. He didn't create a moment, he created a mindset. Henry Sylvester Williams didn't choose fame. He didn't need a crowd, he didn't need a spotlight. He connected the diaspora before the diaspora knew that it was supposed to be connected. He's the quiet architect behind the idea that Black freedom is global, not local. Some revolutionaries light the fire. Others draw the blueprint for the whole matchbox. He was the blueprint. Say his name. Henry Sylvester Williams.
Say his name, Henry Sylvester Williams. We must not forget. We will remember. I know people around my age, if they used to party, will remember this rhythm and the artist singing. All they just indulge me now. When I see it, it just bring back memories like my batty rider. Yes, I used to go there about my batty rider. All you go there. Yes, I enjoy my youth.
When the rich go use and get the one of them out, them a walk out and I run up them mouth. When the you walk one man, them say that them a dope. Someone say them a done but me a profit. Tell them the son of Abraham, them say them a dope. Someone say them a done but me a profit. But you have the glue maximum life. Please man, treat the woman right. Please man, treat the girls right. Please man, treat the lover right. Please man, treat the girls right. What would the girl them a take life. Come in at the dance and them mama girl na them.
I want to apologize. The video went silent for a while, but all I get is just, yeah, I used to be in my batty rider and out there, raking myself, my legs and them was Good and nice one. Ah! Anyway, when you get older, you must be able to say, yes, you enjoy your youth. You ain't do nothing scandalous and not know people could throw at you and whatever, but you had a good, clean, fun time. And I was into dance and West Village, so worse yet. Anyway, to dance, I was right there. So let me continue. So I see that our new Miss World contestant start off with a bang. I really haven't been following, but I saw this and I think you all may enjoy it.
If you had the attention of every young person in the Americas and Caribbean for 1 minute, what is the message you believe they most need to hear today?
I'm simply going to tell you my truth. I stand before you here as a young woman who struggled with self-esteem and confidence. I often questioned if I was smart enough, if I was worthy enough, if I was able to think critically. I was scared to share my opinions and my thoughts on matters because we live in an era where everyone is your harshest critic and you can't make mistakes without judgment or without grace. But I'm reminded of a speech once given. It's not that you can't, it's not that you're not capable, it's not that you're not smart enough. It's simply you haven't found your way to success yet. Everyone has their own unique way of navigating life. In today's age, we stand before a mountain high, filled with challenges and obstacles. But I say to you, with time, with grace, and with love, you can do it. You can overcome those obstacles. You just need to believe, have faith in God, trust yourself. You are worth it. You are capable, and you will be successful in this life. I promise you. And that is the message I share in all my support group sessions through my Beauty with a Purpose. Because I believe in love, kindness, empathy. If my grandmother was here, she would be so unbelievably proud that I'm able to overcome my stage fright and speak to you all here today. So please, treat yourself with kindness and compassion and know you can do this. You can win. You can succeed. Just operate with love and faith. Thank you.
Yes, now I don't see nobody else. She don't win. She win. That girl have poise and confidence. She win. Because I'm sure she didn't know the question I was going to ask her. Well, I don't know, but hey, listen to me now. I have to pay more attention to you, yes? We got this. I hear she in the top 40 now in all of them. So, hey, woo, class and beauty from TNT. So let me continue. So I see that an icon has died. People around my age grew up hearing about Dolly Parton. You all know Dolly Parton is the country western singer. She had I don't know if she went and take out she ribs or whatever, but she weighs it smally, she boobs big, blonde hair and thing size. So unfortunately, she has died. She has transitioned. And who is Dolly Parton? Just a little. Just a little. So it says here, Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, nee Parton, born January 19, 1946, sunset August the 25th, 2026. She was an American musician, actress, philanthropist, and businesswoman. She was a child prodigy, writing her first song at the age of 6, performing regularly on TV at the age of 10, and making her first recording at the age of 11. She became a professional songwriter at the age of 16, and after winning hits for other artists, her debut album, Hello, I'm Dolly, was released in 1967, beginning a career spanning 60 years and 50 studio albums. Known as the Queen of Country, She was one of the most honored female country performers and received various accolades, including 11 Grammy Awards, 3 Emmy Awards, and the Jean Hirscholdt Humanitarian Award, along with nominations for 2 Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Awards. Rest in peace, Miss Dolly Parton. So we continue. It continues. So, all remember this?
But this set of workers, I don't know, we've got some lazy people about now. You sign the book and by 10 o'clock you're going home. Mayor, why do you allow it? Send them home. Send them home. If you want to go home, go home. But don't take your salary, keep your paycheck and go home. If you get a job, you have to work, okay? They're not doing their job. If the corporation workers cannot get their act together, do not do their jobs, do an honest day's work. I will ask the Minister of Finance to cut funding on the corporations and redirect that money to other divisions to do the work. We can't have RPC, PEP, highways, all of them being paid to do the same job.
So, when they came in and you saw 10,500 CPEP workers gone, although they say it's the contractors who they had an issue with some corruption, whatever, they sent only workers who wasn't involved in no corruption, URP, reforestation and others. So you see, they had a plan all along. They had a plan all along.
When you voted for the UNC and realized you mess up.
I wonder how much people bowling today. I'm just asking. Listen to the Honorable Minister of, I think it's Homeland Security.
Not everything that the social media says, I think I as the minister have to come out and correct it. That's, what is that? So the sky is going to fall this evening at 4. The social media said. Trinidad and Tobago, we just want you to know that we have no information at all that the sky is going to fall. A train is going to pass through Trinidad and Tobago this evening at 6. Trinidad and Tobago, we just want to inform you that no train. You think that is fair to members of the public, but that makes logical sense.
Minister, of course, they have been a former Minister of National Security, and of course, he had a former head of the National Security Center weighed in on the topic, and they did put forward suggestions that could have. Do you think there could have been something done differently to allay some of the concerns?
All right. Where did the information come from? That's the first thing I have to find out, you know. Where did the information came from? Where? Who gave that information? And everybody chiming in and coming in and making all kind of statements, and all I view it as is just a whole bunch of rubbish, really. Because if you have that responsibility and you have the information as to what is happening in terms of your people, we will not leave you. Just like when something happens, we open up the party bus route and we inform persons that the party bus route is open up because they are flooding in it. You understand what I'm saying?
When you voted for the UNC and realized you mess up.
I'm seeing here, First Citizen Bank has some action. Listen.
Politicians have all required searches to be restarted. The report also raises concerns about the treatment of senior managers, alleging a pattern of hostile and disrespectful conduct during board meetings. And it says 28 managers were affected by compensation downgrades following a performance review. The Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago has now entered the picture. According to the report, the entire First Citizens Board was summoned by the regulator on August 11th to address concerns about senior management attrition and the board's response. First Citizens is 60% state-owned with assets of $50 billion and about 2,000 employees. Bedesi says the central bank engaged First Citizens following the CEO's resignation, and the bank has provided the regulator with an update on vacancies, acting appointments, and succession planning. He says successful candidates for Group Chief Risk Officer and Group Chief Internal Auditor will soon be onboarded, while the process of filling other key vacancies has begun. He says the board remains focused on corporate governance, risk management, and regulatory compliance. But the whistleblower report is calling for public answers on the board's actions and permanent appointments to several key positions. For now, the spotlight is firmly on the board and on whether First Citizens can stabilize its senior leadership. Ryan Bachu, CNC3 News.
So the First Citizen Board, after all the bacchanal with the persons who were on the board before, who time then finished and under the People's National Movement, when UNC came in, they put their own board. Now the man they put, excuse me. All listen to this. This whole place just turn up all over. Yes, Papa, listen to this.
Right now, there's a serious issue in the country that chronically ill and elderly persons are facing. I was only made aware of it yesterday, and I'm highlighting it right now. We have a program called CDAP. If you have never heard of it, it's because you're probably too young and you don't need it yet, but one day you will. This program was started in 2003 or thereabouts under Patrick Manning. Now, the importance of CDAP becomes important when you hear what it stands for. Chronic Disease Assistance Program. You don't have to be a special age, a special race, a gender. Once you are a Trini, you are eligible for it. It's essentially the government giving you free medication. Persons who have hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and many others could have gone to the nearest pharmacy and had their prescription filled free of charge to them, but the state is actually paying for it, rather than going broke, spending thousands buying expensive medication. And one day, the program seemingly came to an end. Now, on paper, the program didn't end. On paper, the government said that they have expanded the program, but for some reason, many persons are complaining that they are going across the country and they can't get simple medication that they used to get 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago. High blood pressure, diabetes, even cancer patients are complaining. Imagine you will have cancer patients suffering because they can't get the medication via CDAP and they can't afford it on the outside. If this is not evil, then I don't know what is. I can't pinpoint anything outside of this that is not evil. Hundreds of comments, even in the inbox. So for some reason, my inbox don't work. I will see the preview, but once I click on the message, it never opens. So people might think I'm not responding to them, but I genuinely can't open or reply to the message. But even in the inbox, hundreds of messages in the inbox. But there's more. And like everything else with this government, it's not good. Because apparently they have been ramping up purchasing generic medication from India. Now on the surface, nothing is wrong with this. Generic medication is essentially the same formula, same everything, just as effective, but you're not paying for the brand name. So it's cheaper. So on the surface, it sounds good. But, and there's a big but behind it, apparently, the quality control for the generic medication out of India is hit and miss. You can pause to read for yourself. But yes, they're having some quality control issues. Now, India has a particular law that allows them to clone any medication being imported into India. A very technical loophole that I can't get into right now, but they are essentially able to legally clone other people's medication without infringing on patents. But the thing is, their quality control doesn't seem to be on par, which tracks with certain things I've been told in my inbox where persons are saying they're getting medication that doctors are saying, I wouldn't take that, I mean, if you can't find the real thing, yeah, but I wouldn't take it. Personally, I wouldn't take it. But if you can't find it, use it. And I'm like, so are we playing Russian roulette with people's lives? What exactly is going on here? Nobody come and say, well, $80 million worth of drugs was expired and that's why. That's not the issue. That could never be the issue. If 2 years ago, there were issues with CDAP, every now and then you will go, you can't get something, but for some reason, whatever issues were there has now been accelerated. Now, a person said that some contractor was replaced and they get a new contract and the contract's supposed to sign this week and hopefully things improve. But you all are saying that you all are willing to let people suffer for almost 2 years while you all work out a contract issue behind the scenes?
And I'll see the post this in a good time. I'm very sure I am not the only person who are accustomed getting drugs that under CDAP that this government discontinue. My son, and since last year, June, he got a prescription. Every time I go in the hospital, it's not available. Not available. They are no longer stocking it. Even my my godmother, the drugs that she accustomed getting for as a heart patient, they're not bringing it, they're not taking it. This is something that's happening across the board. I even see some ladies talking about how they have stage 4 cancer and the drugs that they're accustomed getting through CDAP, through the hospital, they're not getting it. This government stopping all kind of things partly and nobody ain't saying nothing. Only a few people talking about it. The ones who can afford it buying it. But this is something that is happening.
And while people suffering, they can't get the medication, they can't afford the medication, they're suffering in silence. You want to come and ask me about this house and brand man. Gone from here, mash shoe. You damn straight dog. And this is my issue. You have persons on radio and TV and being paid big money by the government, but they can't talk this talk publicly. The grandmother suffering, they themselves sick and need medication, but they can't talk this talk because why? You can stop the money, they can't stop the money. The money must keep running. Their own grandmother can't get the diabetic medication they need, but they can't talk. They're talking everything else except that. It's amazing to see how you knew that CDAP was so important while you were in opposition. And now you're there. You're running about the place doing everything else except securing this. This is why I didn't want to let dirty money. This is why I didn't want it and I would never want it. I would never take it. This is why. Because I would have to sit down now in 2026 while this shit going on and see my neighbor suffering, the man down the road suffering, people in my inbox suffering, people in my chat suffering. I have to sit down now and try and deflect like, show my body say house receipts. You know something? You all out there, the citizens who suffering in silence, I blame you all for this nonsense too. Because all of you have access to the same internet I have access to, but you all sit down there suffering in silence. You wouldn't make a video and say, hey, my grandmother can't get she cancer medication 6 months now and she dying. You wouldn't come and say that. Because you're afraid. You're also afraid this stupid drunk government. Afraid victimization, boy. Afraid they might come back for me. Imagine you afraid drunk and senile people. Always part of the damn problem too.
When you voted for the UNC and realized you mess up.
Well, then listen. This I love Rambos, you know. My whole show is Rambos.
Heritage chairman resigns amid allegations of corruption in company's contract allocations. Ramlal, a longtime supporter of the UNC, was among the first appointments made by the party after it assumed office and had served as chairman of Heritage since July 2025. What? Allegations of corruption against a UNC member? Wow, this is unheard of. Who would have thunk it? You see, these people said it's a coalition of interests, but they never said whose interests. You all just assumed that it was all your interests. But you know what bothers me in this whole thing? Whether it's proven or not proven and swept under the rug that there was corruption, here's what is going to take place. 5 years from now, you're going to see him in a different state entity or a different state board. This is what happens. They don't ever get jailed. They don't ever just go away and fade into the background. They just get relocated to different places. It's a thief. And this isn't the only high-profile resignation in the past couple of months in the oil and gas sector, because Paria Fuel Chair resigned just a few months ago randomly. You must know that these two individuals reported to the Minister of Energy, and he was also the one who appointed them. You all know the saying, something about birds and a feather and something. You all got the idea. Any update on that case, by the way, June come and gone, you know. I ain't hear nothing about that, or you all swept it under the rug as well. Most likely latter.
This was in the Guardian 2 days ago. It says, Trinidad and Tobago may not reap the economic benefits expected from the recently negotiated Venezuelan natural gas agreements, as the commercial incentives offered to Shell and BP could ultimately encourage the companies to direct gas towards lucrative European and Asian LNG markets, rather than the country's struggling petrochemical sector. That was the warning from Venezuelan petroleum engineer and energy analyst, Dr. Einstein Milan Arcia, who in an interview with the Sunday Business Guardian argues that the economics of the agreements, the economics of the agreements could leave Trinidad and Tobago with insufficient levels of gas for local downstream industries, while international energy companies pursue substantially more profitable export opportunities. In Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Kamala Persaud-Bissessar is celebrating the signing of these agreements as a personal achievement that will bring economic and social benefits without realizing that the ultimate outcome of these agreements could actually be the opposite, he said. This concern comes after 3 agreements were signed over the last 6 months. The signing between Shell and Venezuela in March clears the way for the development of the Dragon gas project and for first gas to be exported to TNT by the 3rd quarter of 2027. In June, an agreement was signed allowing Shell exploration and development of the shared Lauren field. 2 weeks ago, another agreement was signed allowing a second phase Lauren development involving BP in Venezuela Atlantic projection. Remember this name, eh? In June, an agreement was signed allowing Shell exploration and development of the shared Lauren field. Remember that name. 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Kamala Persaud-Bissessar congratulated acting Venezuelan President Delcy Rodriguez on the signing of license for gas exploration in Venezuela's Lauren Phase 2 development and the, what is this? I feel like taking off these glasses now. Plataforma del Tano area. Persaud-Bissessar noted that the 2 agreements signed in Venezuela could send approximately 7 trillion cubic feet of gas from Venezuela to Trinidad for processing at the country's LNG petrochemical plant. Rodriguez has assured that the gas flowing across the border could benefit TNT and other countries through shared development and industrial activity. The agreements have been promoted as an opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to secure additional gas supply and strengthen its energy industries. But Milan Arcia argued that simply obtaining access to Venezuelan gas does not guarantee that the gas will be economically competitive for TNT domestic industries. Here, his central concern is that Shell and BP, which each hold a 45% interest in Atlantic LNG, will seek to allocate gas towards the markets that generate the strongest return for the companies. When analyzing the impact in terms of the balance between the additional costs resulting from the financial burden of payments to Venezuela/Petroles de Venezuela, like PDVSA, and the net profits available to the operations in TNT, the agreements could be advantageous to Shell and BP. They would likely orient their strategy towards prioritizing the upstream and market segments in order to monetize their production in Europe and Asian markets, rather than focusing on manufacturing and petrochemicals. This could contribute to the closure of plants in Point Lisas. His warning is particularly significant because TNT gas industry is already under severe pressure. Domestic natural gas production, according to Milan Arcia, has fallen from approximately 4.3 billion cubic feet per day, BCF/D, in 2009 to around 2.3 BCF/D today. The decline has contributed to shortages affecting LNG production as well as the country's gas-intensive manufacturing and petrochemical industries. Atlantic LNG has been one of the most visible casualties. The company once operated 4 LNG trains, which combined capacity of approximately 15 million tons per annum. Train 1 was shut down in 2010 following years of feedstock difficulties and is scheduled for complete decommissioning on the fourth quarter of 2026, leaving approximately 11.5 mmtpa of capacity. Milan Asia says the country's gas requirements have fallen from approximately 1.6 to 1.8 BCF/d, when all 4 trains were operating to around 1.1 to 1.2 BCF/d today. That still represents close to half of TNT's total gas production. Oh, you see me? Me reading no more, you know. Because I remember the Prime Minister, no, not the Prime Minister, not the ministers, the chairman of NGC, and then like the smiling like the solid Cheshire cat when they say news coming, I'm paraphrasing it, exciting news coming, the energy sector and thing, and we sit on excited waiting, we say, because anything that will help the country and benefit the citizens of this country, we fall that and we wait and think. And then we come and hear how BP and Shell signed deal with Venezuela. We ain't hear this in nothing about Trinidad. But they felt that signing deal with Venezuela, BP and Shell, and me go get real thing, whatever. Now this man is a Venezuelan consultant and he is seeing something different. And as I tell all you, remember, I talk about Shell. Okay. Hey. Let me take down this. August the 24th, today's the 25th, right? August the 24th, Reuters. British oil major Shell has shelved its Aphrodite offshore gas project in Trinidad and Tobago after disagreement over commercial terms with Trinidad National Gas Company. 3 people familiar with the decision said on Monday, Shell had given the project a positive final investment decision last year, but it has decided to now not to proceed with the development after negotiation with NGC for the sale of the project's expected output of around 100 million cubic feet per day of natural gas field, the sources said. NGC acts as Trinidad gas aggregator, purchasing from producers and supplying it to the downstream users, including the petrochemical sector and the country's flagship liquefied natural gas project, Atlantic LNG, where Shell is 45% shareholder. As part of its decision, Shell has released a jackup rig it had contracted to drill the production wells for the project, the people said. Shell is in ongoing negotiations and confirms that the initial rig slot for Aphrodite has been released, Shell told Reuters. The company will continue to evaluate the overall integrated project schedule, it added. NGC did not respond to requests for comment. Trinidad is the largest LNG exporter in Latin America. The decision represents a setback for the Caribbean country's effort to reverse years of declining natural gas output, which has curtailed its LNG export and petrochemical production. The Aphrodite project anticipated production would have provided a modest but welcome boost to the island's gas supply industries. Participants have increasingly pointed to commercial challenges, including gas prices, as being responsible for the recent closure of several petrochemical plants in the island. Trinidad expects to soon have access to gas from neighboring Venezuela, as Shell and BPL advance plans to produce there, which would complement domestic output. Both companies have been granted license by the Venezuelan government related to cross-border gas development, expected to allow Venezuelan gas to be produced and transported to Trinidad for processing and export. Those projects are viewed as critical to replenishing supplies to Atlantic LNG and supporting the country's energy sector over the coming decade. Reported by Curtis Williams. Now, I'm now sure what the Venezuelan consultant, who is a man in the energy sector, say. Basically, it ain't bound to go down like how them feel it will go down in Trinidad. We go get this and get that and that. this company could decide that they have more viable option selling this bacchanal to foreign entities rather than invest it in downstream. Because we looking at the downstream, they could say the downstream ain't really making nothing. Let me just sell this thing, right? That is my humble understanding of this thing. And Shell done drop one project that was going to invest in. They dropped that because of like some negotiation thing. You remember Nutrien gone and Methanex gone, and it had to do with the chairman of NGC. It is alleged some kind of shakedown and thing for money and something it is alleged. But again, I keep seeing their faces when they were smiling and so excited to tell us that, you know, some big thing in the energy sector. And I said to myself, it has something in that, because I remember a time when Kamala Persaud's sister was the prime minister 2015. She come on the TV or somewhere with a bottle, a container, something with some black dirty water thing, some black liquid thing, and say they find oil and all that, and we never hear nothing after that. So let me continue, yes. Let me continue the continues. Well, I think it's easy. So we wait to see. So a long time I haven't read anything from Mr. Michael Dehani, and I saw something, and I decided, let me go and read it, because, you know, he does have some nice writings. He does chronicle thing good. He like a Rambos, but he does write. He don't make videos, right? Credit where it's due. First, Phoenix Park gas processors made TNT 216.8 million in 2025, up 26.9% on higher NGL sales volume and strong plant availability. That's a real number earned by people running a plant. Nobody needs to relegate it. Everything after that sentence is theater. Gerald Ramdin stood at the Hyatt Regency last Friday and told the room that over the 11 months, the board and leadership had turned NGC around TT 3.46 billion profit after tax, up 111%, the highest in over a decade. Rudal Munilal called it an unprecedented achievement. The obvious question was left hanging. 11 months of what exactly? Ramdin's own board took office in mid-July 2025. The financial year he reported on ran from January to December 2025. Counted honestly, and his board was responsible for roughly 5.5 months of the years producing that number. 11 matches, neither the financial year nor the period since his appointment. It's a number chosen for how it sounds, not what it measures. A rounding up of how long I've had the job, dressed up as how long I've been earning this result. Now the wordplay. Nowhere in NGC's own release does the word impairment appears. Instead, the result reflects the positive impact of updated assets valuation. TTNGL's swing from a TT 119.4 million loss to a TT 224.3 million profit is explained by an improvement in the recoverable amount of its investment in PPGPL. That is impairment reversal language with the non-surgically removed. The mechanism matters. An accounting reversal isn't by itself a management achievement. It is a valuation changing because the underlying condition changed. The numbers move. The chairman doesn't get to claim he moved it simply because he was sitting in the chair when it did. And here's where the torchlight gets interested, because we have watched this move before. In April, Presenting an earlier version of these same figures to Parliament, Kamla Prasad-Bissessar cited NGC's 2020 loss of 2.1 billion and in 2023 loss of 1.3 billion as evidence of PNM incompetence, failure, and mismanagement. The 2023 figure on NGC's own account was principally hit by a TNT 1.8 billion non-cash impairment charge. Now a reversal of impairment at TTNGL arising from an improved valuation of its PPGPL investment sits inside the much brighter 2025 results. Write the value down, it's mismanagement, write it back up, it's leadership. The mechanism doesn't change, only who is standing next to it when the numbers move. None of which erases what actually built this year's revenue. NGC expanded 5.7% stake in Atlantic Trains 213 took effect in October 2024 under the outgoing PNM government. The product of a restructuring signed in December 2023 after 5 years of negotiations. The pricing arrangement that now pay out were negotiated in that same window. Say that plainly because Stuart Young isn't wrong to say it. He's saying it to give credit where credit is due. Those foundations were poured by Young nearly 2 years before this press conference. Ramdeen is presenting the concrete as if he mixed it. Strut about PPGPL. If you want to strut about something, it earned it. The rest of Friday's performance was the chairman doing arithmetic on a clock nobody else in the room was allowed to check. So said one, Mr. Edmonds Dihani. And thank you as usual for your pieces. I do enjoy them. Before I move on to other things and ting, let me play this.
Barry Panerat now says criticism of this government is rooted in hatred of the UNC, racism and prejudice. Nonsense. When nurses speak out about salaries, that's racism. When workers demand answers, that's prejudice. When citizens question government policy, that's hatred. No, it is called democracy. And what insults me the most is the attempt to rewrite history. We are told nobody protested for 10 years. Untrue. Nobody challenged politicians. Untrue. Nobody demonstrated outside officials' homes. On March 28, 2015, the OWTU led by Ansel Roche protested outside the home of then Prime Minister Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. Were they racist then? Were they extremists then? Then in November 2024, the same Ansel Roche led demonstrations outside the homes of then government officials, including Keith Rowley. Were they the enemies of the state then? Of course not. They were exercising their right to protest, because back then protest was acceptable when it suited the political narrative. Back then dissent was celebrated. Back then speaking out was considered democracy. But now that this government sits in office, suddenly criticism is hatred. Suddenly protest is intimidation. Suddenly the people are the problem. Well, I have news for this government. The people are not the problem. The people are the employers. The government works for the people, not the other way around. And no government should ever become so arrogant, so entitled, and so disconnected that it believes questioning authority is somehow an act of hostility. The people have a right to question. The people have a right to challenge. The people have a right to protest. And the people have a right to demand answers. This state of emergency was sold as a tool to fight crime. The government says this is about public safety. I believe the timing tells a very different story. And if speaking up for the people makes those in power uncomfortable, then they should get used to being uncomfortable, because silence is not democracy. Accountability is.
This government may have the numbers in parliament, but the people still have a voice. And that voice is more powerful than any parliamentary majority. Because governments come and go, politicians come and go, but the people remain. So when government stops listening to the people have a duty to speak louder. So speak. Question, challenge, demand answers. Hold those in power accountable. Refuse to be silenced. Because this country does not belong to politicians. It belongs to the people. And the people will be heard.
So that is Ms. Michaela Pandey from the Patriotic Front. She's the political leader. So let me continue. I'll just break the thing a little bit there. You remember the Venezuelan energy expert, the consultant, Mr. Milan Asia, something was saying, basically that don't get too excited about the deals that signed in Venezuela, because I don't mean to say Trinidad getting all that, right? Because they could decide that selling the gas, BP, Shell, and all of them. Because remember, these people are transnational corporation, and their investors are in London. Their investors not here, they're shareholders in London, not in Trinidad. So there's about making money. And where you go make more money, it has not much sympathy. Trinidad wasn't at the table in Venezuela. We and BP and Shell there, we negotiating for we. Because they only a little something, right? Wherever. However, the man also say that they could look at outside market to sell the gas, natural gas, whatever, and not necessarily put it in any real way, I put it my way, in the petrochemical downstream business, because we enter that, we in the downstream part of it, right? And look at why I am inclined to believe what the man said. Watch this. That there is Myanmar, Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and that there is the President of Venezuela, and that there is Myanmar, Motley, Emlia Forest Palace, I think. And this is what it says. President Delcy Rodriguez welcomed me warmly to Caracas. So she going Caracas. And from the outset, our focus was on our people and the possibilities we can create for them. The work we have agreed can strengthen Barbados' energy and food security, create new openings for our farmers, the fishers, and businesses, build stronger tourism and trade links, and improve the movement of goods. It can also open doors for Barbadians through scholarship, language training, and exchange in music, energy, and fisheries. We have already seen the human value of this friendship. When the earthquake struck Venezuela in June, Barbados answered with rescue workers, medical teams, humanitarian supply, and a field hospital in Guarenas. Agreements such as these must be felt at home in the choices our young people have, the markets our producers can reach, and the greater security of every Barbadian family. This is how we built a stronger Barbados and remain the kind of neighbor that shows up when it matters. Look how far Barbados is from Venezuela. Who is the closest neighbor? Trinidad. Barbados ain't oil and gas, but Barbados positioning themselves because they have a strong leader who understands the scene. So I'm inclined to believe the energy expert when he say, I put it my way again. If all you feel all you're getting a set of money and things from, they might be looking to export and sell the thing outside, not really inside here. And look now, Barbados and the mix. Oh, what is this? That again is our lovely and beloved Mia Motley in Miraflores, Caracas. Did Dr. Munilal go to Miraflores in Caracas? Or did Mr. Joel Ramdeen go to Miraflores in Caracas? Did the Honorable Prime Minister go to Miraflores in Caracas? Okay. I just asking people. So let me continue. So there has been a lot of conversation coming out of the PNM, surrounding the PNM, and it has reached a stage now where there are some in the PNM who are so distressed about the situation. Everybody does see things differently. My thing is this. There are times, sometimes things just have to come to the surface. Because you pacify, you play it on in the interest of the party, in the interest of this, and you want to make no ruffle. That has worked for a while. However, I keep telling people, the usual voters of the People's National Movement are more the elders, right? The seniors. I like to call we elders. I'm in that rank too. And we would hold on to the history of the People's National Movement. History must not be forgotten. The heydays, the days how it used to run and things. But you also have to look at the leaders. Them young voters, 18 to 45, around there, they're not too interested in that part. They're in this time here now. They want to know what could happen for them, how it could work for them. They want to see a party that is dealing with whatever conversation come up with regards, whether it's corruption, whether it regards to whatever. They want to see a party dealing with that, talking out on that. That with a young block of voters, that with them. You see the 60-year-old and 70 and late 50s and things. Let me just pat down and let me make it work and let me just take. And let me take because that is the leader and we have to go along and take and until better could be done. All them kind of talk, right? That song goes back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. See, 2025, if the PNM want to get 28 seats, or as close to 28 seats coming out of this 13 seat they have, that approach is not the correct approach. My thing is if you try all the processes that are there before you, and it's not working, and they're not listening, well, it leaves you little choice. We did it in the PSA, not because we want to bring PSA business in the streets, but nobody wasn't listening to us. There wasn't having general council meeting. When you write letters to the general secretary to get things addressed and nobody taking you on, they're doing what they want, they're picking who they want, they go in ministries and having sections and put their own people in it. Same thing like the PNM where you hear going on now, you know. The PNM and the PS is just a microcosm of what the PNM is, you know. Okay. And all that back and all, and nobody listening, and we decide we're taking it to the streets. And Mr. Jennifer Baptiste Primus is fully aware of that. If you can voice your opinion based on your constitution and the processes that exist there inside the house, the only way for them to listen now is outside the house. And if only they want outside the house, only should have listened inside the house. But it's ironic, they come along on Mr. Manning, that is Brian Manning, for speaking out outside after he tried the processes. And while they say the processes was going on, they say he come outside, right? But when Mrs. Jennifer Baptiste Primus came out of a general council meeting and bring all PNM business on the road with reporters and everybody, it was Dr. Rowley now, so nobody did in business. Because who is Dr. Rowley? Black, he too black for prime minister, he arrogant, he don't listen, all kind of things, so it was okay. And when Robert Lehunt was out there yapping all over, it was okay because he was being neutral. Today he is the treasurer of the PNM. So he's on Central X. And Mr. Jennifer Ortiz Primus is the deputy political leader of the PNM, also on Central X. They were rewarded, in my opinion. But Brian Manning, who won his seat in San Fernando, is the only person to bring home a seat in San Fernando, a member of parliament, talking about the issues he having with the executive, an executive that give, I understand, Randall Mitchell, same kind of drama and problems. He writing about it, talk about it, write about it, whatever. They want to say no, he only win his seat by about 500 and something votes. Okay. But the political leader and opposition leader win his seat by about 600 votes or 6 something. And an unknown UNC who didn't have to campaign, nobody know where the man come from. He almost take the seat from us. She today is the political leader, opposition leader, and the chairman and chief whip of the party and in parliament. He won his seat by about 260 something votes. The doctor woman nearly take that seat from him. So mentioning how much votes Mr. Manning win his seat by makes no sense in that scenario. But I was speaking about his coming outside. So everybody has something, he shouldn't say that. And he said, because he alluded to the fact that there's some type of corruption within the San Fernando East executive, and it coming out as CPEP contract and all that. Remember, before Mr. Manning said that, the UNC, who was saying there is something wrong with contract and some corrupting with the contract and all them kind of thing from the contractors and CPEP, never said the workers. So Mr. Manning saying that, I don't see how the burden being put on Mr. Manning. But we continue to say, if there are a problem with the contractors, UNC should have deal with the contractors and let the workers work. You let go 10,500 CPEP workers to treat with 300 contractors. But then again, I play the clip where she says CPEP workers lazy and all kind of names she called them. However, since them 10,000 CPEP workers not outside, the country looking terrible. And the noops and the knock-knocks, who noops upkeep of public spaces with the 200, wherever they hire, can't do the work. Where CPEP used to do. Always see a man show you when noopies or noops, whatever the name, do work and they throw all the grass. According to here in the video, throw all the grass down inside the drain and they leave it pile up all that. So them definitely can't do the work like CPEP. CPEP workers they leaving the work so. Then when them done, you look and you say, what the hell? With this place looking nice, right? So, as I was saying again, all of a sudden, they're against Mr. Manning. And they jump in Mr. Manning. They tried that up in Trin-City Maloney with the Women's League election, AGM. The women came out. They stood strong. They tried to stop the election, tell them that to go Balize House. The women up there say, we ain't going to Balize House. It have enough place up Trin-City Maloney for we to have election. And eventually, Balize House, whatever, back down, and they had the election. I hear it had security. It is alleged Central X work with security and all kind of thing. I don't know how true I wasn't there, but the election was on. I hear they're supposed to have the constituency election for chairman, executive. The date to have it, letter write by somebody named Jelani Reed, who they say fighting down the MP, who was like his mother and take him under his wings up in Trin-City Maloney. Letter write, he name attached, they stopping the election of Trin-City Maloney constituency executive election until further notice. So as I was saying, all them things happening, right? But they're on Mr. Manning, Brian Manning's case. So there was a press conference yesterday. And what I haven't challenged with is this, because I'm talking from labor, how I know these things do. If you all are saying The national executive was at that. The opposition leader was not there, the political leader wasn't there, and I understand it's from she office, so I don't understand something so important why she not there, right? If you're telling the public that there's a process going on where some investigation, whatever the case may be, so that Mr. Brian Manning should have, I put it my way, Brian Manning should not have come out in the open because there's an investigation going on, whatever. Then why it is only calling Brian Manning name and implicating him as though the inquiry finished. Excuse me. I was found something wrong with Brian Manning. All I can be telling people, investigation going on, process going on, but only calling Brian Manning name in it. So why all are putting in people here that only find the man guilty or something? And on top of that, who coming out to read from the PNM Constitution? All of a sudden, they know the PNM Constitution is this and could follow that. But it have people can't even get a PNM Constitution when they go by the house. So it's only for all to use and to have a rough hand on people. Because everybody's supposed to have a copy of the PNM Constitution. So let's pull it out when all they want. And it is alleged also when Dr. Emery Brown was member of parliament down on that side down there in Digo and thing, he used to have challenge with the executive down there and he used to complain. He used to complain. Every MP would like to be working in harmony. They don't have to agree on everything, but in harmony with the constituency executive. Nobody wants to work with no constituency executive that war in them. Use the MP, use the ex officio, if that's the right word. Use the MP. People vote for you, not just people. Trinidad and Tobago, people vote for you, not just PNM people in a meeting. So, all I want Mr. Manning to have respect for, all they want to announce. So they pronounced on the man yesterday. I think they could have come there and said this is unfortunate. I don't feel. The political leader should have been there to say that this situation that has arisen and out in the public is very unfortunate. But we want to assure the PNM membership and Trinidad and Tobago at large that we will treat with this matter internally as is done based on our constitution of the PNM, and that we will call Mr. Manning and all people involved, all stakeholders, and we will work this out. That's so hard to do. Instead, you have Sanjay Buru, who is a deputy political leader. Nobody in that city has deputy political leader coming out to make pronouncement, and who reading, and Ember talking, and all kind of thing, and who all train under the bus, MP Brian Manning. When they don't do all that hatchet work on the MP for San Fernando East, Brian Manning, the Women's League, went and put out a blistering. So like them on their own, doing their own thing, process going on, but them pronouncing it, put out a whole thing condemning Mr. Brian Manning. And to make it worse now, something called Daily Press saying it's Camille Robinson Regis. So this is what the Daily Press says. Camille Robinson Regis is accusing MP Brian Manning of undermining the PNM party. That is what the Women's League put out there. In a media release issued on Monday, the Camille Robinson, through her women's arm of the PNM, said she was deeply concerned by Manning's recent public statement about the San Fernando East constituency executive and the PNM. The organization said his approach is weakening the party and undermining the authority. They also argued that the publicity errand disagreement was creating division within the PNM. So they attributed that to Ms. Camille Robinson Regis. Or who is the lady vice chair of the PNM now, not the one who does talk about the space in she teeth and bag of sugar because Paris so a woman with space between their teeth and her bag of sugar down there. She's not the lady vice chair. Me don't know Ms. Camille Robinson Regis come back. So them write a big letter and people put it, is Ms. Camille. So Ms. Camille Robinson-Regis put out a statement for immediate release. Statement from Mrs. Camille Robinson-Regis correcting the record. I have taken note of the Facebook post published by the Daily Press stating that I issued a release accusing Member of Parliament San Fernando East, Mr. Brian Manning, of undermining the People's National Movement. I wish to categorically state that this allegation is completely false. Following the PNM internal election 2025, I ceased to hold the position of Lady Vice Chair of the party, and as such, I have no affiliation whatsoever with the release reference in the Daily Press Facebook post. Furthermore, during my entire tenure as Lady Vice Chair, I never issued a release through the Women's League seeking to lecture, reprimand, or publicly chastise a sitting PNM Member of Parliament. The suggestion that I would be responsible for such a release is therefore both inaccurate and misleading. I am therefore demanding that the Daily Press immediately remove the post and issue a clear and unequivocal apology for attributing the release to me. I expect the publication to correct the record and ensure that its readers and followers are not left with a false impression of my involvement. Should the Daily Press fail to remove the post and provide an appropriate apology, I will have no choice but to pursue the necessary legal remedies to protect my name and reputation. I remain committed to the principles of accuracy, accountability, and responsible public communication, and I will not allow false statements concerning my involvement in the party affairs to go unchallenged. Yours in service, Camille Robinson-Regis, Member Parliamentary City, Malone. Right? Then I see something here in Trini Lou's. I read it from that, so I hope they had the thing correct. Manning went to Penny first, Amber says. She told him to put his complaint in writing. The PNM is now pushing back directly against claims that Penelope Beckers failed to act when Brian Manning first raised problems in San Fernando East. At a PNM press conference, former Minister Comembert said Manning initially took his concerns directly to political leader Penelope Beckers. So one thing we know for sure, Mr. Manning went and raised the issue with them in the PNM, not outside on the road, right? Okay, let me continue. According to Embert, Beckers told Manning that if he wanted the party to act, he needed to put the allegations and concerns formally in writing so the PNM constitutional machinery could be triggered. Embert said he specifically sought Beckers' permission before revealing that conversation publicly. His conclusion was blunt. Suggestions that Beckers was approached and simply did nothing, entirely true. So she told Mr. Manning when he approached her, based on what Comembert is saying, all his concerns that he has, and he brought her as a political leader, she said, here, what? Put it in writing and let the constitutional thing play, right? Okay. Manning subsequently submitted a complaint raising concern about governance, party group verification, and the handling of affairs within San Fernando East. So if he submitted in writing the complaint, he followed what the political leader told him. He put it in writing, and his complaints had to do with governance, party group verification, and the handling of affairs within San Fernando East. Okay, let me continue. The PNM says that complaint, along with concerns raised by constituency chairman Patricia Alexis, led to an inquiry in which both sides and their witnesses were heard. A report containing findings and recommendations were later produced, while a separate verification exercise of party groups is also being carried out. It does not mean Manning has to agree with the process or its outcome. He has continued to argue publicly that concerns within the constituency have not been addressed in a way that inspires sufficient confidence. But inward accounts raises an important question about the criticism now being directed at Beckers. If Manning first went to the political leader and she instructed him to formalize his complaint, setting the party process in motion, is it fair to say she failed to act? Right? That's a fair question. I also want to add, it is alleged that the committee or the team or whatever they put to investigate the issues that Mr. Manning raised in his complaint was stuck with the person he complaining about colleagues, and I think the person themselves. It's also alleged Mr. Manning would have asked to have 2 people to represent him on that committee, and he was told no, it is alleged. So I'm saying, if you see the person you complaining about, a political leader tell you put it in writing, and they put it in writing and they send it to the appropriate place, and they did investigation and they investigated and all that, and they have a team to come to inquire and whatever. But on that team is the person they complaining about, the colleague, because she's on the Central X too. So if and all the members understand, or that committee was Central X people, and Mr. Manning asked me have some people, my people there too, and they say no. Well, then me are going nothing to have in, because to me that will be unfair bias and kangaroo court kind of thing. And why I believe what I'm saying, look what happened in the press conference yesterday. They throw Mr. Manning under the bus, they didn't call the next person's name, and they're operating as though there has been a finality in the findings, but they're still saying the process is going on. So it's about common sense, people. It's not about who like one, who ain't like who. Common sense. So let me just read this now. So this is Mr. Sanjeev Guru. Listen to him.
As I said, the verification of the party groups in San Fernando East will conclude by Friday, because the party's business must continue. The business of San Fernando East, the representation of the people of San Fernando East, and the membership's interest in San Fernando East must continue. And so the party is not going to find itself in a position where we have convention in November, and because we can't conduct elections in San Fernando East, we're going to postpone the convention in November. That is not going to happen. This party is continuing its business. Now,
so you didn't want your seat up in Toko Manzalina? So we'll give you all this rank that you're talking and behaving like that, Mr. Sanjay Guru. That if the election in Appearance my way again, because I can't repeat exactly what they're saying, but I get the idea what they're saying, that if the meeting didn't happen and then have the election up in San Fernando East or whatever, here what's going on? Whether they have election or not, we call it convention in November, you know, we have business, you know. I know what somebody put. Not me, because it's I write it, I go say it's me. How this fella sounding so arrogant? Where this arrogant tone comes from? Like hubris starts stepping in even in opposition. Like the deputy political leader position gone to your head already. What will happen if you're getting government, bro? Okay. I just asking a question. I didn't write it. If I tell you if I did write it, I did say it's me. Me didn't write that. So I want to continue with something, because I'm trying to understand what they're trying to tell me. I know people upset Mr. Manning come out, he shouldn't do that and thing, but I'm asking people. So he tried everything. He ain't getting no redress. The situation continues on in San Fernando East. He talking about San Fernando East, you know, he talking about no other constituency. He talking about he constituency and some corruption, alleged corruption with CPEP. He constituency. Yeah? So all they don't want this party because we say that we're different than the UNC. And if there's allegations are not fact, allegations is there, and only find it necessary to investigate based on his allegations. And all they want to look into it to make sure that that not happening in the party, to make sure we present a party that's saying to them young voters and them, here what, we're not going to tolerate all this kind of behavior and corruption, alleged or whatever, and we deal and fix this. So they ain't happy with that. All they want Brian Manning to toe the line, and okay. I see they cussing Miss Manning stink. I don't know Miss Manning was in Hazel Manning was in politics again. I know after Mr. Dr. MP, Prime Minister Manning died, Patrick Manning's husband, she kind of just support his son. They cause she stink, they cause Brian Manning stink, they cause Darian Marcel stink. Well, they're cussing me stink. Oops. And them is the one who loves Penny. It is alleged that they getting paid, you know. I don't know that as no fact. But them love Penny because we is the penny haters. And all we saying we want the best for the PNM, right? So I want to bring back these things for your attention and tell me if these things may be influencing how people get to know and feeling how they totally feeling. Because even back in Mr. Manning time, there was fraction with Rowley fraction, Manning fraction. Back in Chambers' time, it had fraction. Back in Dr. Eric Williams' time, it had fraction. But you know what? When it came, and don't tell me no, it had fraction, we could come together. It need a strong leader. So we had a Dr. Eric Williams, a pull back thing. We had George Chambers in quiet way, pull back thing. We had Mr. Manning in his quiet way, charming way, pull back scene. Dr. Rowley more assertive and think he pulled back the PNM. So it always had the, but this leader seems unable to pull back. And I heard somebody saying, we ain't giving she a chance. I don't know what's a raffle, excuse me. Chance for the what because Kamala Pasabi says, I want no chance, you know, she stepped down, she said 2.0, and she doing what the hell she want. Give Miss Penelope Beckers a chance to do what exactly? So all the time you're planning to be the first political leader of the PNM, you didn't have a plan to implement that plan when you come in now. When the 6 or the 7 or they sit down at the table and choose you as the political leader of the PNM, or they didn't have a plan then, because they didn't include the next 6, you know. Or they didn't have a plan there, or they didn't think Vikey, so now we have to give she chance to do what? And if calling Miss Penelope Beckers politically weak is disrespecting her, and calling she politically weak is only coming down on she, well then she don't need to be in politics or in public life. Because me I see nothing disrespectful in that. Kamala Pasabi sister called Dr. Rowley, Oreo, Blank Man. They went in parliament and get Vanilla Allen Toppin to say Dr. Rowley mother raped his father. It's on the Hampstead. And Dr. Rowley born angry, he's a child rape, and he raped a little girl. It's on the Hampstead. They said about Dr. Rowley. They put up sign in the community and say, keep your train away from Rowley. They call him rapist, pedophile, all the 10 years. They call him black, too ugly to run PNM, all kind of things. They put his head on feces, have it all over Facebook. He endured that and run the country and keep us on him. We just say Penny politically weak and only making video. Why only was making video and cost the people who are saying them thing about Dr. Rowley? Why only they make video and cost Vanilla Allen Toppin? Why only make video and cost Sally who say Dr. Rowley's a breadfruit? He black outside and white inside. First he want to say yellow because I've never seen no breadfruit roast. And when you cut it from the black outside, it's white inside. But he saw one thing, tell Dr. Rowley. He said when it's like a roast breadfruit. When you cut the outside, it's white inside. Breadfruit does be yellow, but he's afraid to say yellow. Me and Siola make video and cuss he. Me and Siola call he Rowley hater. But it's okay to cuss Rowley. It's okay to disrespect Rowley. It's okay to go to General Council meeting, come out the General Council meeting and say all kind of thing about Rowley. It's okay. He arrogant. He do this, he do that. It's okay. But don't touch all the pressures. Who have a crown on she hair when she neck can even hold it up and say she politically weak. Nobody who support nobody else don't make no video and cuss nobody. And for all they calling people phone and bullying them and verbally abusing them and all these lovers. Well, me want that kind of lovers, I call they are accustomed to abusive relationship. Me and one of them kind of lovers. Let me stay a hater, Papa. Let me stay a penny hater because I want the best of PNM. All you can't want a woman in charge and shielding. She has to stand up and she on 2 feet and answer back. She has to do the work and I word politically weak. Can't be something where all they want and then she a child and what happened? She can't get wet. I don't understand that she toilet paper or tissue paper. She has to take talk. Them not a small talk and you think, come now man, all they behave all themselves for this foolishness. That's everybody come out to make video. So all this will love Penny, all they concentrate and asking the political leader here tonight, an opposition leader, we have all right to ask a question. As a financial member in the PNM, I pay my dues. Are you encouraging or endorsing what is happening with them people cussing people on Facebook right through? Are you endorsing it? Because I see in a meeting, hug them up tight, nothing wrong in that. That people can support you, whatever. Right on the issue. I see you hugging them up, And Dolly, the woman, the space and she teeth and bag of sugar, she always starts to tell me that this woman have a PhD and she operating as if she's a dunce. She had to have low self-esteem to label herself and reduce herself to space and she teeth and what between she leg. And you have a PhD. Miss Lady, get some self-esteem. But I was saying, only hug them up. Only hug them up, just appreciate them and whatever. But the people they calling haters don't cost nobody. So I want to ask, I'm going on a little history lane here now. All remember this? Is it that a total feeling because that any convention already passed them straight and they try to put out their hand whatever? I just asked them, listen to Mr. Manning, Brian Manning's father.
And any number that one newspaper would have chosen to advance as part of their own agenda in seeking to defeat the PNM. Others have tried it before, my dear friends. The PNM has withstood that before. The PNM will withstand that again. And yesterday there were a maximum of 5,000 people in Woodford Square. And it raises a question. It raises a question, ladies and gentlemen. If they cannot speak the truth in small things, imagine what they will do in big things. My mother used to say, show me a liar and I'll show you a thief. That you had 30,000 people when they had 5. You could imagine when they see $5,000, they go feel it's 30,000. When they see 5 million, they go feel it's 30 million. That is what they're all about. If they cannot speak the truth in small things, ladies and gentlemen, don't expect them to speak the truth in big things. What is amazing about all of that is that they have come to the national community arguing that they're advancing new politics. New politics? New politics? Look at them faces on the stage yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, half of them older than me.
Yeah? Some of Patrick Manning, deceased, God rest his soul.
1 minute that there is no threat in this election. If we should put God out of our thoughts, and we should allow those gentlemen, and I don't know that gentleman is the right word, if you allow those fellows to occupy the corridors of power for yet another time, then you take what you get. It is crap or smoke you pipe. It is every man for himself, and may the devil take the hindmost.
Yeah? That when they go around and tell people how long Labrador vote for Stuart Young, he's a Chinese. PNM lost already 33, she will go come back. They fail to tell people PNM came back with a strong, politically strong leader. They forget that part. So let's to 2024. And around that story, Jennifer Baptiste Primus. I'm going to put up she put there. Former government minister Jennifer Baptiste Primus says for the first time she has taken issue with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley over his failure to follow the democratic process of the People's National Movement, On Saturday, heated PNM General Council meeting was held at Balize House in Port of Spain, where it was decided that the party will hold its convention and internal election. However, a date was not given. Earlier this month, the PNM cancelled its 51st annual convention, as well as the internal election originally scheduled for November 17, 2024. This caused major upheaval in the PNM, as it was apparently not in keeping with the party's constitution, and only General Council can make that decision. On Saturday, Rowley received support for the decision to ratify the party's convention and the internal election at a later date. This support was, however, not unanimous. The Express understand that some 140 people attended the meeting, but a mere 70 people cast votes in favor of the ratification. 5 abstained and 1 voted against, but his Primus was the one voting against. So here I want to ask, if you had 140 people attending a meeting and 70 out of the meeting voted in favor of ratification, 5 abstained and 1 voted against. So let me do the math. 70 voted for, 5 abstained, so that 75 people and 1 voted against, like 76 people. What the rest of the 140? I don't understand. I don't understand that. It's supposed to be saying 70 vote for, 5 vote against, or abstain is the next 70, or some kind of thing, so? How it could be? Look, contacted yesterday for comment, but his Primus, a former Labour minister, said, yes, I was the only General Council member to vote against the motion to ratify the decision of the leadership to cancel the internal election and the 51st annual convention, because I was not satisfied with the response, the explanation of the honorable political leader. My perspective, it was woefully inadequate, and therefore I opted not to express my trust on this issue by ratifying the decision. She pointed out that it has been part of the Public Service Association for most of her life, adding that all organizations have a constitution. But his Primus said she has deep respect for the PSA constitution, and likewise a deep respect also felt for the PNM constitution. You see what I tell about it? And the constitution is very clear. It is the General Council that has the authority to summon a convention, and the action of the leadership and unprecedented, as I did express that my view, it was unprecedented and undemocratic as it undermines the democracy in the PNM, and I expressed my truthful views with a heavy heart. And when the vote came around, I exercised my right not to ratify the decision because the explanation to my mind was woefully inadequate. I don't know more to tell you why. There was a General Council, and as she said, the General Council has the authority. But if Dr. Rowley raised an issue in General Council, and General Council, for whatever reason, back him, and they voted on it, there was a democratic process because there was a vote. So how I could say it wasn't democratic? If the outcome, how much time is Baptiste Primus in General Council? You asking a question, you would have tried to get General Council members who you think with to vote in your favor in something or you want to pass. Tell me them thing and happen and asking you a question. The point I'm making is this: the General Council is the body to XYZ, and if the General Council weak or they back down, however, you can't blame Dr. Rowley for that. There was a vote, the vote come out, 70, ratifying, and whatever the case may be. Where's the issue? Same thing in Tobago. All of them went across in Tobago with the exception of Ms. Lisa Morris Julian, who would have died tragically in a fire with 2 of her children. And they voted whether Dr. Rowley bullied them, whether Dr. Rowley shouted at them, whether Dr. Rowley cussed them, whether they had cussed out or not. It went to a vote. It went to a vote with 21 MPs there. And they voted for who they feel is the one to take over PNM. 9 votes for Ms. for Ms. Penelope Beckers, and 11 votes for Stuart Young. How the hell they could come out that meeting and say it wasn't democratic? Or they too wicked? So if Dr. Rowley do something or if it was undemocratic, what the hell happened when 6 MPs sat down with Ms. Penelope Beckers after the win, the seat, leave out the next 6 and voted for she to be the political leader of the PN, opposition leader of the Trinidad and Tobago? That democratic, all the 2 disingenuous boy, all the 2 blasted disingenuous. Don't want to tell anything to Dr. Rowley, only fight down the man, cuss him and all kind of thing. But just saying Penelope Becker's politically weak, only cussing people for that, only they never cuss for Mr. Manning. When only run Mr. Manning like a dog from Balise House, only ever cuss for Dr. Rowley in the 10 years he had to take abuse, verbal abuse from the UNCM people all over Facebook, all the PNM people who calling people haters today, all they stand up and defended Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. But look now. Oh, and as I there one time, I want to ask, I hope that Miss Baptiste Primus is in good health. There's some conversation that she may not be. I hope that she's in good health and whatever it is, that she recovers. Because I don't hate she. They can't tell me nothing about she tenure as the president of PSA. Damn cool. I stand with Madam. You see, she politics, it stink and dirty, and I want nothing to do with she with them politics. Because she know better. So let me bring some more thing to all you.
So I just want to use this opportunity, first and foremost, to thank my colleagues who ensured that I have been elected the leader of the opposition. I want to thank the Secretary, the Lady Vice Chairman, Camille Robinson-Regis, the leadership of the party for the support. You know, it was a wonderful meeting, the General Council, and to get the endorsement of all of my colleagues. And I just want to say to the people who are gathered here today that we have had times when the PNM has been in opposition. What is important is that we have always returned to government. Right? We are committed here as a team, you know, as colleagues in the lower house and then members to be appointed in the Senate. Our commitment is to work as a team to ensure that the People's National Movement returns to government in the shortest possible time. I want to say to you that we are all disappointed that we were not successful, but we have every reason to hold our heads high because we know that we are going to work hard, we know we're going to work as a team, we know that we have to continue to liaise with you, to listen to your voices, and as we go to the Parliament to represent our constituents and the wider Trinidad and Tobago.
Very important.
You can be assured that we will represent you and we will serve you in a way in which you could be exceptionally proud and know that we care for the people of Trinidad.
That's what we're talking about!
We're going to be exceptionally proud. But madam, I want to tell you, plenty people not proud. I just want to ask a question. That Farris and Rory had only up and down, my space in she teeth, who have a degree, no have a doctorate and belittling to herself about her space in she teeth and sugar between she like. That was Farris and Rory had only go in here so and go in here. What happened? She put the sick or something, she couldn't stand up proper. With the hand doing there and then so on, it go down so and come. I don't know, just asking a question. I don't know. So let's listen to this too.
The elections have come and gone, but the analysis of the bruising defeat the People's National Movement suffered continues. Former Arima MP Penelope Beckles, who will lead the opposition business in the Senate, says the defeat signals there is need for fundamental change within the party structure.
If it is that the PNM is to see the corridors of power again, we need to look at, you know, that whole issue of the restructuring of the party, as you said, the whole issue of putting better checks and balances. If we are to attract people and motivate people to come into the party, they would, I know from everywhere that, you know, I go that people are looking very closely to whether or not we're going to look at the whole issue of, you know, inclusion, you know, the whole issue of the democratization of the party.
Speaking at a post-election analysis forum on Thursday, Beckles said the changing of the guard in the persons of sitting MPs in 2007 and the completion of that process in 2010, which saw party stalwarts like Ken Valley, Fitzgerald Hines and herself sidelined by the party, may have contributed in no small way to where the party has found itself. She believes one of the main lessons from the May 24 election was that you never take the electorate for granted.
You really don't take the electorate for granted, and that you listen to the population on many areas, whether it be on issues, whether it be on the selection of candidates.
Beckel says the PNM may want to look at the one-man, one-vote system which is used by the opposition UNC in the selection of a leader. She believes there is merit in the system since it gives the rank and file of the party a voice. At the same forum, Professor Selwyn Ryan argues that the result in the election for the PNM could have been much worse had it not been for Dr. Keith Rowley.
Mr. Rowley really saved the PNM from a serious, if I might curse a bit, a serious cutters. And had he not intervened, the whole, the color of the map might have been very different.
Rowley makes his bid for leadership of the party on June 27th. For CNC3, I'm Kamal Georges.
Back then, she never restructured any party, make it more attractive. What is she doing to make it more attractive? Are people cussing people all the time? That making it attractive? Well, if all you know how people running from this PNM now and this continuous talk about black party, this is not Jamaica. This is not Barbados, neither is it Grenada. We are cosmopolitan, unlike those other countries. There are more bigger percentage of people of African descent. Unlike Tobago also, that is a large percentage of people of African descent. Trinidad is a cosmopolitan country. So talking about black party, that would show, because if only black people vote for PNM, they can't win no election. Because plenty black people ain't coming out to vote anyway. So this conversation about black party. Anyway, this was said in the Guardian, whether the PNM under Penny, whether the PNM in the Penny. The current turmoil within the People's National Movement can no longer be viewed as a dispute confined to a single constituency. What is unfolding in San Fernando East has exposed deeper questions about leadership, authority, party discipline, and the future direction of Trinidad and Tobago oldest political organization. At the center of the controversy is a public dispute involving San Fernando East MP Brian Manning and constituency chairman Patricia Alexis. What began as an internal disagreement has evolved into a wider test of the party's ability to manage conflict and maintain unity. She's at the head. The political leader of the PNM is at the head, and that is Mrs. Penelope Beckles. The most troubling aspect is the apparent inability of the PNM to resolve the matter through its established internal structures. Constituency executive have openly challenged the MP. Executive members have resigned and competent fractions have taken their grievances to the media. Such developments inevitably weakens public confidence in the party's governance and decision-making process. The resignations are particularly significant because constituency executives are the foundation of grassroots political activity. They mobilize supporters, organize campaigns, and sustain party engagement between elections. A fractured executive raises serious concerns about organizational effectiveness and electoral readiness. The decision by Hazel Manning to seek the constituency chairman has added another dimension to the dispute. As the widow of former Prime Minister Patrick Manning and the mother of Brian Manning, her candidacy carries significant political symbolism. Supporters may view her involvement as an effort to restore stability and unity, while critics may see it as part of a broader struggle for influence within the party. Either way, the contest now holds significance beyond San Fernando East. The broader issue, however, concerns the authority of the political leader Penelope Beckles. Having assumed leadership after the PNM defeat in 2025 general election, she inherited the difficult task of rebuilding a party emerging from the long shadow of former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. The events in San Fernando East are testing her ability to establish her own authority and define a distinct leadership style. The transition from a party shaped by strong personalities to one guided by strong institutions was always likely to be difficult. Recent events suggest that process remains unfinished. Party Chairman Marvin Gonzalez has insisted that no MP, minister, or prime minister is bigger than the PNM and that the situation is under control. Yet, authority cannot simply be asserted. It must be demonstrated through credible processes, decisive action, and successful reconciliation. Political leadership is ultimately measured by outcomes. The implication extend beyond the PNM itself. A healthy democracy requires a strong and effective opposition capable of scrutinizing government's decisions, holding leaders accountable, and presenting a credible alternative vision for the country. The developments in San Fernando East should therefore be seen as more than a constituency dispute. They are tests to the PNM's capacity to govern itself, manage internal divisions, and rebuild public trust. The question is no longer who controls one constituency. It is whether the party can emerge from this challenge as a stronger, more disciplined, and more credible political force. That was an editorial there. So let me just continue. You all remember this? Opposition leader Penelope Beckers-Robinson faced criticism for taking several weeks to address the status of embattled PNM Senator Janelle John Bates, following a witness statement controversy. Beckers defended her timeline by citing the need for a fair process, reviewing the requested report, and allowing natural justice before making a final decision. Early May 2026, Senator Janelle John Bates tendered her resignation following a track change controversy involving a parliamentary witness statement. Mid to late May 2026, political analysis and government members criticized Beckers for delaying action while John Bates remained in the Senate on committees. Beckers maintained she needed to review all facts and wait until she returned from travel. June 5th, 2026, Beckers finalized the process and formally advised President Christine Kangamu to revoke John Bates' Senate appointment, which was announced during a Senate sit-in alongside a replacement. People would say she took too long, while this young lady name was dragged all over social media and all over, because she was going to resign, she wrote her resignation, it wasn't accepted. Why wasn't it accepted one time? She confessed that she would have edited this thing to go before the same committee that she's sitting on in front of. Why you didn't just take the resignation, come out, talk thing, and put somebody? You drag it to talk about when you come back from travel. If you're not traveling, you're in pan and powder, you're up and down with the thing with the priest, you're in this event, you're in that. So are you a ceremonial political leader and opposition leader, or event after event after event? Because you were supposed to be at the thing. Isn't that all they put Marvin Gonzalez as the political leader of the PNM? Because it's alleged. When they sit down together, the seven of them was Marvin, they choose, it is alleged. And it is alleged, he said, he ain't ready and whatever. And when they must look around, realize the only thing that was she. It is alleged. I don't know. So is Marvin now the political leader of the PNM? I don't get it. Because he talks on everything. If he wasn't talking, we'd never know what's going on. But I find he putting himself in a position with this whole brand manning situation. And let me tell you, there's so far collective responsibility does go in. Collective responsibility doesn't include, in my opinion, doing the wrong thing, Okay. And then saying, let me stand with them, Oh, okay. Let me continue. This continues. I have something to play. I'm watching my timing because I need to play it. Right? Listen to this.
Shell shelves Aphrodite offshore gas project in Trinidad for now. According to Reuters, Shell has shelved this Aphrodite offshore gas project in Trinidad and Tobago after disagreements over commercial terms with Trinidad's national gas company. Shell had given a positive final investment decision last year, but has decided for now not to proceed with the development after negotiations with NGC for the sale of the project's expected output of around 100 million cubic feet per day of natural gas field. As part of its decision, Shell has released a jackup rig it had contracted to drill the production wells for the project, the people said. Now, this isn't the exact jackup rig in question, but it's just an illustration to show in the ballpark of what we are talking about. These things are booked months in advance. You can't just decide we're drilling for gas tomorrow, bring it over here. So for them to release the contract on that shows that this is not going to restart no time for the rest of this year. You'll see why I wasn't too excited about this. People were like, you're anti the country because you're not excited for the country. Good news, excited news, and you're not talking about it. Let me break something down to you all. If you have a business that sells apples and you have 2 clients that buys your apples, 100, 100. So at the end of the month, you make $200 worth of Apple sales. And you lost a client, which brought you down to $100 in Apple sales. And then you gained a new client, which brought you back to where you were originally, $200 a month in Apple sales. Are you making progress? Are you growing the business? Or are you just spinning top in mud? Right now in the economy, it's like a yes, but situation. Yes, but. Do you get it? Yes, but. You got it? I don't think you got it yet. Yes, kinda. But, in fact, right now, the buts are outweighing the yeses. 1/2 of a step forward and 2 steps back. And you will call that progress. You will call that growing the economy. You seemingly couldn't negotiate your way off a cliff, even with the help of a tailwind and gravity. But then again, what do we expect when we have somebody who was representing a dead man for 2 years and didn't know your client was dead? You wasn't in touch with your client. You didn't get any notes, a phone call, a payment, a check, nothing for 2 years, and you're up in court representing the person. Not to mention, billions of dollars is at stake. And you can't even go and talk to the people next door. You down here playing hide and seek in your basement. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister of Barbados, a country with not a single oil rig out in the ocean, is across by our neighbors shaking and knocking glass and taking pictures. When you posting on social media, it's some stupid early morning drunk rant you're posting on social media. Meanwhile, the Barbados Prime Minister posting thing with class. She was welcomed over there in Caracas. You can't even go across in Caracas. They might arrest you or some nonsense. We going to the dogs, you know. I don't think we even sent a delegation to Venezuela or nothing. No. We have been negotiating oil and gas deals via phone and WhatsApp. Everybody met with the Venezuelan president before us, you know. And we have the most to lose.
Right. Listen to Stuart Young in Parliament.
We heard so much attacks and criticism in that period of 2015 to 2025 about cross-border gas. So back to Loran Manatee. The Loran side is 7.3 TCF of gas. We have been cautioning since April of last year, May of last year, that Trinidad and Tobago is not sitting where the decisions are made with respect to price and allocation of gas when it comes to the cross-border gas. Because right now, there is absolutely no field that is known domestically to start to fill the oncoming hole that we face. Thank God we got Manatee done, but that is only 2.3 TCF of gas. And when you hear that there's going to be an increased utilization of that gas through Manatee Plus, which we already had begun discussing because we always hoped that the gas would come from Loran, understand that that is only going to carry us for a couple more years. We heard that Shell last week in Caracas signed an agreement for 1.7 TCF of gas from Loran. That is a small amount of what Loran is at 7.2. It is possible to put down floating LNG platforms on those amounts of gas, the remaining 5 plus 6 TCF of gas, and to take it, and it never benefits Trinidad and Tobago. By not sitting at the table in Caracas and leaving it up to multinational oil and gas companies, we are at a serious disadvantage. The next question that arises is what is the cost of gas to NGC? Does NGC have any allocation of that gas? You see, the minister was very careful. He was being truthful. The license and the agreement is to Shell versus a PNM administration that was extremely cautious, managed all of the negotiations, all of the relationships, and ensured that these multinational oil and gas companies could only come there at our invitation and introduction. And that way we assured and we ensured that Trinidad and Tobago would have sufficient allocations of gas for electricity and for the petchem. The multinational oil and gas companies, BP and Shell, their preference will always be to take the gas directly to LNG. And by not being there negotiating, you are nowhere in the allocation conversation, nor are you in the pricing conversation.
Yeah? I want you all to listen to this carefully. This is a more recent, because coming from this will be the Jenny's People Meter poll. question.
So cross-border gas and the cross-border gas affects you, the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. It is the revenue from this gas that's going to continue to afford you the education and the opportunity for education. It continues to help you with cost of living, your subsidies on electricity, subsidies on water. It continues to provide free health care. This is why the revenue from gas in Trinidad and Tobago is so important to all our citizens, especially the younger ones, because these deals are what's going to secure your future. So let's have a conversation about something that's quite topical in Trinidad and Tobago that all of us should pay some attention to. Firstly, a cross-border gas refers to a field that is literally across the border from Trinidad and Tobago. So it is a field that is completely in Venezuelan waters. For example, Dragon is one of the most famous ones. Cross-border is a field that is partially in Trinidad and Tobago's waters, partially in Venezuelan waters. So for example, Manatee Loran or Manikin Coquina, two fields that straddle both Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. So let's start with the Loran Manatee field because that is the larger one. What happened in 2019 is when sanctions were put on Venezuela, it put a stop to all progress of conversations with Venezuela with respect to cross-border gas or a cross-border gas. The PNM government at the time, we always saw the need for the opportunity to work with Venezuela and to produce their gas here in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why we spent a lot of time still having discussions with Venezuela and with our allies in the United States to provide Trinidad and Tobago with the opportunity to develop cross-border gas and a cross-border gas in Trinidad and Tobago. And you would recall, because open source would also show at the time who were the persons constantly trying to sabotage those discussions, constantly attacking those negotiations and discussions. It was none other than the UNC, who today are heralding as though it is some new discovery, both cross-border gas and a cross-border gas. So in 2019, when we saw these sanctions come into play, as your government, we immediately came up with a strategy to ask the government of Venezuela to allow Trinidad and Tobago to produce through Shell the Manatee side of the Loran Manatee cross-border gas field. And fortunately for us in Trinidad and Tobago, we were able to achieve that. So we managed to persuade Venezuela to deunitize, to allow the separation of Manatee from Loran, so we in Trinidad and Tobago could produce the Manatee field. And in 2024, Shell finally took FID, final investment decision, to produce the Manatee field, and thankfully that has been going to go ever since, and we hope that production of that field will come. Let's go now to Coquina Manikin. Because of the sanctions, nothing could have been done with respect to Coquina Manikin. However, as soon as we were able to secure an OFAC license from the United States, again working with our ally, the United States, it was in May 2024 we secured a 2-year OFAC license for BP, NGC, and the government of Trinidad and Tobago to carry out the discussions with Venezuela to get a license. And you will see that it was in July 2024 we managed to secure a 20-year license, exploration production license from the Venezuelan government for the Coquina side in Venezuelan waters of the Coquina Manikin field, with a 20% stake for NGC. That was not just happening, it wasn't a vai occurrence. At the time, we had already begun discussions with BP saying that NGC has to be across the whole value chain, meaning we wanted on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago a 20% stake in the whole of Coquina Manikin. At the time, it couldn't be signed with BP because on the Manikin side, 66% of the gas field in Trinidad's waters, BP was sharing that Manikin side with Repsol, who held 30%. So BP needed to negotiate with Repsol to get full 100% before NGC could get the 20%. And we're glad that that has been secured now. We're glad that BP fulfilled its promise to Trinidad and Tobago, a promise that was actually made way back in November 2024 in London when I held discussions with the executive at BP in charge. I've already dealt with Dragon, and I hope that one day that gas from Dragon will come. And again, the country knows how much time and effort was spent by the PNM administration pursuing that Dragon gas on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago that resulted in December 2023, a historic exploration and production license from the government of Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago, NGC and Shell for the Dragon gas field for 30 years. But that could only happen by sitting at the table with those who make the decisions and negotiating with them. And that is a main concern. That's a main concern. If you're not sitting at the table negotiating with those who own the gas in Venezuelan waters, you will never get the best terms for Trinidad and Tobago. Think of it this way. You and your friends starting a business, deciding, right, well, who will get what shareholding, who will get what percentage of the business, who will get the money, but you get left out. And 5 of your friends sit down and share up the pie, and then come at the end of the day and tell you, hey, you take a 2% and $1. And that's because you weren't sitting at the table. That is what happens when you're not sitting there where the decisions being made, where the discussions being made. You get left out. At the end of the day, the oil and gas companies will always try to get the best terms for their owners and shareholders. And it is important for us as the people of Trinidad and Tobago to be sitting wherever the decision is being made with the owners of the gas Venezuela, to be asking for and negotiating for terms that would benefit the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Only having a conversation with the oil and gas companies where they have already secured the terms for the gas to come are never going to be to the full benefit of Trinidad and Tobago. We look forward, and we will continue to do our job to keep people accountable and to ask for transparency, none of which you see happening and coming. May God continue to bless our Trinidad and Tobago.
Right? Coming out of that and what I would have played before, people meter poll. Director, put up the people meter poll, please. I hope you're not in the fridge looking for things to eat. You know you. So the people meter poll question is, do you think Stuart Young told us the truth about the energy sector? Listen to it again. Do you think Stuart Young told us the truth about the energy sector? If they say yes, he tell us the truth, type 1 for yes. If they say no, he ain't tell we the truth, type 2 for no, and if he ain't voting, type 3. Again, 1 for yes, that you think Stuart Young told us the truth about the energy sector, and 2 for no, you don't think he tell we the truth. Just the letter 1, just the number fucking 1. While all voting, let me play the word of the day. I tell her it's not of course, Jenny. It's just for 1. Vote over. Just put 1. That's all you have to put. All right, let me play the word of the day in the meantime.
Today's word is brought to you by the letter M.
My friend Kurt has spent the last few months playing an online fantasy game practically every night, and his texts are starting to show it. I asked if he wanted to come out for dinner tonight, and he replied that mayhap he would join after his quest. Mayhap is the dictionary.com word of the day. It's an archaic way of saying perhaps. The word is basically a shortened form of the phrase, it may happen, and it's a good one to know if you're a fan of high fantasy or courtly romance. I told him that either way I'll be at the Gastropub at 8, and mayhap I'll see him there.
Okay, word for the day, mayhap. So voting is officially over. The question was, do you think Stuart Young told us the truth about the energy sector? 100% said yes. 100% said yes. So we believe what Stuart Young does tell we about the energy sector. Because all the things I have played and we have seen, he has never deviated from that. And it has no when somebody know, they're working on. They doesn't need to read from paper, so, you know, my glance at it or something, but they could talk about it because they saw a part of it. They know every aspect of it, and he has always been able to do that. So you sit down and listen to him with interest because he talking that straight from here, there, boy. Ting, no paper, no thing really. So, and everything he has told us from day one, we've seen it play out now, right? So people, me and like them lovers and them, you know, the penny lovers and them, me and telling nobody who to support, and me cussing nobody because they don't support. I tell only who I support. My member of parliament is Stuart Richard Young. He had us vote for Port of Spain or St. Lawrence West. That's who I support. Me never lie about that. And me have to cuss nobody. Me have to call nobody's phone and cuss them and bully them because they don't support Penelope Beckers. Show us, I'll say it for the 99th time, tell us how she has the experience, the ability, the competence to lead the PNM. That's all we're asking for. You see, I could play all kind of thing of my MP. It's a plenty thing I could play. I could even play thing with Dr. Rowley. I could play thing with Mr. Manning. I could play thing with George Chambers, Dr. Equilium. Tell us what. And don't tell me she's in the party long time. That is not enough. Don't tell me that she's a woman. That is not enough. Excuse me. Don't tell me she was in several ministries. Those are just position. That is not action. That is not policy. Tell me when she stand up in parliament and debated on when she was the Senate in the House, the Speaker was Senate, lead talk in the House, Senate, or whatever that's called it. Tell me what she do. Tell me something memorable. And don't tell me about her social activities. We know she could party. We know she could lie. If you want a good line, Mrs. Penelope Beckers is the person. Say, hey, we're going long, so come back later. Or, hey, watch me now, some bacon thing, you know, we go do bulldog and thing. Hey, watch me pan and powder, watch me, we go and stick fight. We go and sing on stage in Calypso. We going back in time and dance. She go on. We ain't talking about that. That can't get me back into office. We're talking about political things. Strong, hard politics. Them is soft target thing. Hard politics tell we. Otherwise, I wonder who this is Mr. Manning talking about here.
So today, who is presenting herself not ready, my dear friends, lacks the political skill, lacks the political experience, lacks the political training, lacks the political acumen, and will be a disaster.
Who Mr. Manning talk about that applicable? Whoever they feel he talking about, only let me know. People, love you all my peeps on. Let me look and see. There's someone, let me put this so it look like my neck breaking across there too. So Joycelyn Nayabo, Annette Rookman, Sedina, David, Point Commander, Leon, Brian, Attila, Pat, Cheryl, Rhonda, Shireen, I call you know. Them on YouTube, eh? I will see if I could see some people on Facebook just now. Who again? I call Sedina already. Pearl, Honest Seeker. Let me see who again. Who again? Jones, Marlene, Jimmy, Patty. Who again? Oh, they come out. Papa, the conversation will be hot and others glance at it and say, Jenny, here what's going on? Stay out of them people back around before they start to cuss you, eh? So I don't get in. Only now and then I might choke about, not me. But I say Nayabo already, but I like to say, Nayabo. Who again? The conversation will be hot here. I don't mind the conversation. Once nobody use obscene language, I don't tolerate that and thing because I just try not to use them kind of language and thing, you know? But because disagree to agree and all kind of back. So people, everybody, Mr. Gibson, everybody, all they getting ready for, we call it thing, Miss Julie, all they getting ready for Albert, all they getting ready for, what you call the thing, convention. Pat, I call Pat already, I call Marlene already, Deborah, I call Deborah before Joel. Wait, Angela, Wayne, Victoria. Thank you all for coming and staying lockdown, truly. Let me see who I could see across on Facebook, I don't forget my Facebook people, know them who I start with, Them is who I start with, I had to pull back out my list and just call names, rattle off names, I could have pulled my boat because plenty of them, and I don't really see them come up and thing, but say what. Let me see who here. Augusto. I call Cheryl. Cheryl all over. Cheryl, you're crossing. YouTube, you're crossing. Yeah, easy. Bolty. Last time I thought Bolty was a woman. Yes, as a man. I'm not in that kind of thing at all. Bernie, not with me ever. Rudeville. Oh, but who again? I can't see, top thing. Let me see who again. Ophelia Emmeline. Rastafari, my hair. Hey, Papa Sarah. Roslyn, Gavin, Anna, Nola, long means no lapie. Miss Melka, I hear they call a name today on radio, they read a comment. Kenneth, who I see too? Nakisha Sylvester, good night, darling. Hey, yes, look him. Andrew not all the way out in Britain, thank you, darling. Yeah, to everybody, I love all you. I will keep all informed if I have anything on Friday because my party group 20 participants on St. Anne's West having pre-independence kind of gala something. Well, not a gala, let me just say so. A kind of lecture thing, kind of talk of the young, the old, the thing, nice thing. So if all ain't doing nothing now, the 28th, that's Friday, 5:30 p.m. at Belmont Community Center, come out. If you want to take a dress up nice, it's up to you because pre-independence is the 28th, whatever. And come out and hang with me, listen to the conversation, ask a question, see what it's about, and when we love up the love ups now. So people, I love you all a lot. Thanks all the time for the support, and there will be a silver lining. Sometimes things just have to shake up and mix up and thing, and sometimes in the cell say, oh God, like this thing when I mash up. And you know what it is? It's simply that you have to rip off the plaster. Not everybody ain't gonna like what they see below, but you have to dig out all them pus and till you reach down to the red. And then you reach healthy cells and things and start to build back. You're 70 years old, you think just so the PNM will go down without a fight? And you think people ain't gonna be fighting to stay in office because what they could get? So it's on both sides, People fighting for the best for the party and for the country, and have people fighting to keep what they're getting, and them don't care about party and them don't care about country. But I tell all you, last year was the year of the snake shedding of the skin. I told people, and people have called out at me, I tell them this is the year for sentencing. This is the year people who do all the thing last year, they're coming out in the open and they're getting the sentencing. So don't be afraid when you're seeing. I'm here talking about physical sentencing and things, because we walk not only by sight alone, we walk also by faith, we walk also by the spiritual side of things. It says we fight, we wrestle not against just flesh and blood, but principalities and something in high places. I don't go to church, and I know Bible thumping people, but I know truth. I have nothing against who does go to church. So don't go and say I say, right? And I'm nothing wrong with people who just pull the Bible and look for it for guidance. Nothing. I'm just saying I'm not really versed in it, but I know truth. And I'm saying we have to be conscious of the spiritual part. Because there are plenty of people who just go to church on Sunday, they shepherd and things, and them going spiritual things. So it really, otherwise they wouldn't go in them thing and whatever. And it have people that say, I don't know. I just saying at the end of the day, there will be a silver lining. And the only thing in life is constant is change. You can't want to hold on to the old thing alone and don't want to go and step forward into the new reality of things. Hold on to the history, teach the history. But sometimes I think that's had to change. Not to destroy the history, and not to mash up anything, but it had to come in line with what we in the era of social media, the era of the young people saying, I don't want to hear all that talk, what they could do, what they're doing, what are they holding the young people with. Me and see the political leader, opposition leader of this party talk anything about what they have policy for young people. or how they go attract young people. All is back in her confusion, and she just lying, and in my opinion, just hoping that she thinks that she could get the $89,000 pension. That's my opinion. And she happy with the money she getting now. She could fly all over the world. She an event here and event there. And I'm the first political leader of the PNM. I'm the first. And she happy with that, while Marvin Gonzalez operating like he's a political leader. While 6 that sit down with she and 7 and choose she. And all like them having problem with she because, listen, and discipline in the party. You know why discipline so in the party? They can't discipline nobody. Because the first thing all you do, after all you cuss Rowley about Tobago, when he give everybody a chance to vote. And if when he tell all you stand up in the general council, here is alleged, and say that I bully all you, and all you know all you bully, and all you stand up there and say no, that's all you ask business. Who all you blame him for that, Rowley? Because if I wasn't Tobago and he bully me, and he says stand up, I say, yes, you bully me. You verbally cost me, you verbally whatever it is. That is why I vote for. I want to say something, I want to know. Then, if it's true, who all want to blame for that? So, it ain't no discipline now, because just all they accused Dr. Rowley of, although he would have given Ole a democratic chance, is based on the Constitution that he choose the Prime Minister. People of this country don't choose Prime Minister and vote for Prime Minister, nor do they choose opposition leader. The General Council, the PNM, don't choose no Prime Minister and they don't choose no opposition leader. They have remit over a political leader. So when Dr. Rowley used the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago to do what he do in Tobago and all they vote, because only the winning MPs could have vote, or they say all kind of things. But all they come in Trinidad, and when PNM had 13 seats to pick all the opposition leader, or they sit down with 7, pick the opposition leader, put a media release on it, and put it out there, and then come to General Council like Pontius Pilate, or they wipe all their mouth, or they know nothing, and then bring in the next 6. We want the next 6 to say, well, we wasn't there, so we ain't taking. They go along because here what the party done bruise and batter, they don't want to make more confusion. So that's why everybody eventually signed. But all they didn't do the right way. So let's start putting discipline from there. And that's why they will have no discipline until all they fix those things. Because they don't want nobody talk to all about what all they do. Nobody, all they want nobody to talk to what all they do when all they sit down in some eating place to eat. And only 7 now all there without 6. But all they only running all them right through. But Dr. Rowley in Tobago, when Dr. Rowley make sure the democratic process was followed, and all they had a choice to say I want Stuart Young or I want Penelope Beckers. All they don't want to talk about that. No, in fact, all they don't be talking about that right through, and Dr. Rowley impose himself, but all they impose all himself and all they want on the as opposition leader on the members of the PNM, only to blast the disingenuous. Otherwise, it will have no discipline once all they sit there and don't admit to what all they did to the people and the members of the People's National Movement. At the end of the day, democratic choice. At the end of the day, you're free to support who you want to support because it had Manning side, it had Rowley side, and all kind of different side. But the strong leader that Dr. Rowley was, he bring them back together, and Mr. Manning give him that support, and they work out the difference and whatever. What happening here now? What happening here now? Why this party all over the place? Because the leader weak, politically weak. And no amount of cussing people will make people just say, well, they know she's strong. They will not. People just be turned off by all and all the behavior and oh God, it's terrible. Miss Penelope Beckers are telling you again, all you go and tell you, I say, I must be the most realest person it have when I telling you that. They're setting you up. Behind the back, some of them are cussing now. Tell me, when I ask them, between Penelope Beckers and Stuart Young, who is the better one to think? They tell me Stuart Young. But you know how people is with Penny and whatever. Them admit it's Stuart Young. And today they cussing. Let they go and cuss me. I fed up get cussed. The more they cuss me, the more my blessing increase. The more they call me name, the more my blessing increase. Them agree that Stuart Young is the man. But And now today, they're cussing Stuart Young and talking about Penny. Miss Beckers, I telling you, they're setting you up there and they know that you like title and you like the thing whatever, so they feed on you and making you feel you're doing something behind your back. They pursue more. They pursue on you behind your back. People I love all I go on, there's a silver lining. Have a blessed one. I'll let all you know if I'm coming on Friday. God spare, or I will do it on Saturday. No, in fact, I can't come on Friday. So I'll have to do it Saturday, God spare. Love you all. Thanks for the support. I go on. They pursue in. And all of them talking and bad talking the woman. They bad talking the woman, you know. They bad talking Miss Penelope Beckers Robinson and laughing behind she back and pursue. I'm making she feel she in something. Miss Beckers are telling you, watch them, you know, watch them with a good cookie. I watch them. Okay, I go on.
Frustration get the better of you and make you do things you should never do. You got to keep the faith, you can't surrender. You never know, tomorrow may be brighter. Behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now, we gotta keep on trying. Keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. As long as you have health and strength, reaching your goal, nothing should prevent. Every time you fall, get up again. Don't sit down there like that and complain. You got to stand up and continue fighting. Don't give up, keep courage, you must win. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now, we gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. Obstacles will get in the way, stumbling blocks to hinder your day. But you can't afford to let them stop you, no matter how hard it is to go through. You got to stand up and continue fighting. Endurance shall win in the ending. Don't you know, behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now, we gotta keep on trying. Oh Lord, we gotta keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. Be of a strong, positive mind. Negative thoughts, leave them behind. We got to go forward in sure certainty. Let no element humbug that possibility. But if you give up, you have no way of knowing. keep on going. We gotta keep on moving on. We know it's a long and winding road, and we got a heavy load, but we have to hold it straight. Get up and try again, because behind every dark cloud there's a silver lining. So don't give up hope now.
Yeah.